Good morning, good day, whatever it is. It's Omni Sports. I'm here with the legendary, as he keeps telling me, Bob Skinstad, Springbok 2007 World Cup winner, three-time Currie Cup winner, Tri-Nations winner, commentator, entrepreneur, and a rugby club owner. I've missed out, and you're involved with another company as well. Bob, what have I left out here?
Well, you've missed out. I'm a full-time consultant, Kev. I work with Elixir, which is a South African-founded consultancy here in the UK. How are you, bud?
Very good, very good, very good. It's a bit early for you, is it? It's about 7 o'clock in the morning your time.
Yeah, it is. I had to bundle my son off to boarding school though, so I've been up and about making some brekkie and getting Ubers and sorting out teenagers. So I'm all okay.
Good. God, you're close to your 50s now. I think about 2 years away. What are you, 48?
Yeah, that's right.
You must be around the corner. So at the age of 48, why would you and Andrew Merten decide to buy a rugby club? What is behind that?
Geez, at the age of 48, I think you got to work out whether you want to get to 70 and say, why didn't I do something? We had a great opportunity. I've been looking for a rugby club or an asset in that space for a long time now. I don't have huge personal wealth, but I've got enough contacts and that kind of thing to at least help raise some money. So we've done that slowly over the years with people who want to do a similar thing, and all the right pieces started to come together. We found a league that we trust in its performance. We found an opportunity where we think there's some serious upside. We found a price sensitive environment and a price point that worked for us. So a whole bunch of things came together before we pulled the trigger.
Yeah, Beziers is a good and a strange mix for you because obviously did you play there? And Andrew Merten's played there.
No, I never played there, but Mertz did. Mertz played 2 years and coached 1 year. Yeah, so he knows it very well, and he speaks fluent French. I mean, it's right in his backyard. He knows it super well.
Well, I did hear the fact that when the press conference that your French ran out very, very quickly. How's your French coming along?
Poorly at the moment. Yeah, exactly. Poorly at the moment. I mean, I really am trying, but I certainly don't have the command of the language that Mertz has got. So it's great to have him as a translator as well.
Yeah. Well, let's stick with Mertz. How did your relationship with Mertz come about? I mean, he was Durban born, but he's most famously known for the 1995 World Cup when he came over to South Africa. No one had heard of Andrew Merten. What is the relationship there?
Well, obviously there was a huge respect for him as a player. I mean, he was incredibly successful in the sort of dynamic history of the Crusaders franchise. And he's a respected player who's played all over the world. Then he played some club rugby here in the UK before finishing off in France. And I just followed his career all the way. And then we met at the odd function, remained quite good friends. He's very entertaining. He's a great fun guy to be around. Got some great stories. He's a bit of a raconteur.
Yeah.
And we just made mates. I mean, after the game, I think you're always happy and pleased, I think, to have relationships with guys who are pretty normal, same as you, maybe competitive on the field, but good friends, good people, and easy to get on off the field. So he's just become a closer and closer mate. This year we've played a couple of golf games, golf tournaments and games together. He's done a bit of work helping Elixir, where, when we get clients together, etc. He's a great speaker. So he's done some of the All Blacks South Africa games for us. So we've actually spent quite a bit of time together this year, and it's really solidified the relationship. It's been very good.
Yeah, I've interviewed him a couple of times, and he actually loves the media. He works really well with them. I asked him about why he pulled a Zap sign at Loftus that time after he scored the was it a drop goal, a penalty, and he pulls up and says, "Oh, Kev, Mike, they must have forgotten about that by now." But he's that great guy.
They'll never forget about that. That's the thing.
So Beziers, why Beziers? Talk me through the intricacies of buying into a French club. It's hard in terms of buying. You spoke about the community and stuff like that. Why is it so hard, and why is it so easy almost?
Well, I mean, it's a nuanced question because it is hard. I mean, you have to get permission from what they call the DNACG, which is the governing body in France. LNR, which is the league national de rugby, which is all of the rugby leagues. So you've got to have, obviously, financial backing and proof thereof, which we've done, and the appraisal of that is obviously they're trying to make sure that you don't buy a club and then it goes bankrupt. You nickel the money and run away. And what's happened to Bezier in the past is they had a very storied history, and I think up until 1984 they were the most awarded French club. They had an amazing run in both cup and league, and they're a really well supported sort of. It's a very passionate group. In the south of France, they're very parochial. So your village and your town becomes the place that they call the people from Béziers the Biterrois, which is a regional sort of nickname for them, and they're all very passionate about supporting their local club. But Béziers didn't do well for a while, so they went down obviously from top 14 into Pro D2 and then down into national rugby, but they kept the stadium, etc. And then there was going to be another purchase, and Christophe Dominici, I'm sure you'll remember the sort of shortish winger who played for France and scored some
99. Didn't he score a bunch of tries against the All Blacks in 99? He did, the semi-final.
That's right, yeah. And he played at Stade, and I think he came from a background of sort of relative poverty if you look at his story. So I think he got some stars in his eyes, got really, really keen on doing this, got some backers who did exactly what you would hope people don't do, and pulled out at the last second. So allowed the club to get into a real difficult financial situation. And Dominici, I don't know whether it's because of that or not, but very sadly actually took his own life. So that all happened in the club, and everybody was on tenterhooks saying, hopefully this is not like that. But it's got nothing to do with that. And that was more than 12 years ago. So we approached the mairie. In France, very often the municipality and the mayor play a big role in the local club. And Mr. Robert Maynard, Bobby Maynard, is a very active political figure, and he's the mayor of Béziers, and he's a massive rugby fan. So what happened after the Dominici incident is he actually stepped in with the council's money and basically got the club to tread water, and helped the club. And they've got a yearly contribution, stadium and stadium and effects, etc. And so they're a partnership. So they've actually kept a small stake in the club with us to make sure that they can keep an eye on the books and the spending and the management. But it's a very good relationship because they want the same thing we do, and that's the best for Béziers.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, Béziers, I mean, they've gone through the troubles. I mean, they were a great force in the 60s and 70s and almost the 80s, and they've gone down to Federation Rugby. But for you, I mean, buying into a club is more than a business deal, surely, because you have to buy into the community, and that's what you've spoken a lot about. I mean, so how do you buy into community? I mean, for you, I mean, obviously Mertz is there, and he's been around. So how do you buy into community? How hard is that?
Well, it is difficult, but it's something we thought about quite a lot before. So my family and I've spent quite a bit of time in the south of France on holidays in the UK summer. It's a beautiful part of the world. And just for the people who'd be listening, so Béziers is positioned right between Montpellier and Perpignan. So it's near Cap d'Agde, which is a very sort of famous. I mean, it's an old naturist colony, which has become a holiday destination. So you can imagine Mertz swanning around the beach there. We'll all be in trouble. But it's only 10 minutes away from the beach on the one side and 10 minutes away from moving into the foothills of the Pyrenees on the other. So it's a beautiful, beautiful part of the world, right on the Canal de Midi and the River Orbe, which is a sort of a much used and beautiful big river coming down from the Toulouse area. And the Canal du Midi, which comes across from Toulouse, is the old. I suppose it was used as a barging highway.
Yeah,
before there were roads and that kind of thing. So What else about the area? So the area is it's the oldest city, the oldest town in France, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I told Mertz this the other day. He loved it because he's an historian. So the Qatar religion, which is actually just a form of Christianity, was a slight breakaway religion from the Roman Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Which set up in Bezier and started, I wouldn't say sort of moving away from the religion, but just started having some of their own practices. So there's a beautiful, massive cathedral, but the Pope heard about this, and this is, I'm talking like 2,000 years ago, and he sent a couple of hundred knights down and just killed everybody. He was like, they don't mess around in the old days, as you know. So, the word cathartic, when you say it's painful, but it feels good type thing. That it came from the Qatar, Cathar religion, which was a breakaway, which the Pope said, no, we're not going to have that, and he just killed everybody. But then they set up the church in the same sort of body and structure as the Roman Catholic Church, which is what they'd started as. But anyway, the area is beautiful. The people, we've started going down for games. They sing these beautiful songs. It's quite Catalan in a way, because it's a lot of Spanish influence. So there's bullfighting. In the middle of the year, there's a huge, big, what they call a feria, which is a festival of all the people on holiday, etc. In the middle of the summer. I think it's in August sometime. 1 million people come to Bezier, so it's a place I want to show the rest of the world. Get more international people for I suppose a wine tasting and fun, and rugby based weekend, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, France is beautiful. I mean, I was there with you at the 2007 World Cup, and I love being down Montpellier and Marseille. That area is just beautiful. But what is it about South Africans and bees? Because Flip van der Merwe is now president of Biarritz, and now you're there. But it's great to see South Africans. The influence extends beyond Bloemfontein and Joburg. The fact that you guys are now bringing clubs, international clubs, into the South African arena almost to an extent.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I saw Flip the other day. It was great to see him. We had a lovely lunch and a few beers at a pub in London. And, he's also a consultant. He's actually a super, super bright guy who's got his own business in France. We're looking to do some stuff a little bit closer together. Biarritz is a fantastic opportunity as well, and he's done that because he spent so much time there. He actually lives in the town, and I think he was pretty much hands on the till there for the first 100 days. He said to me, and he's got a great general manager, and he's got a good environment where he can manage it going forward. So I think they're going to do very well. It's a very competitive environment, Kev. I don't envision for 1 second, we come along and with a bit of stardust, you sprinkle your sort of your happiness all over the club, and then suddenly they're in top 14. I mean, it's a journey. It really is a journey. We've got a great coach. We've got a great structure. We've got some great young players. We're losing some players next year already because they've been signed up because they weren't sure of the direction of the club. A couple of them are regretting that they've already signed contracts for next year, but we've got some plans in place for the others and for some people to come in. And I think we're going to run it like a business that we care about. The funny thing is it's in French Pro D2, but it probably turns around the same revenue as most of the South African teams. Yeah, it's probably not as big in pure revenue as maybe the Stormers and the Bulls, but it's not far off. And I think it's got an 18,000 seater stadium. That regular customers there of about 7.5 thousand, and we would hope to get that up. And last year in a playoff game they had 17,000. So if we can get some excitement going, hopefully the upside is there.
I think the great thing about this for you as an investor, both financially and emotionally, is the fact that it's got a background of passion. a passion. I mean, for you, that must be the biggest thing.
Yeah,
I know most played and coached there, but for you, you can't go in. It's more than a business arrangement. I mean, this is an
of course.
emotional
Yeah, yeah.
arrangement now.
Yeah, it is,
And
and I've
yeah,
said this. It's not. You know, I'm a full-time consultant at Elixir. I love my work. I travel all over the world with some great clients, and I mean, we took a whole bunch of clients to Twickenham this weekend, and one of the guys was saying to me, how are you going to do both?" And I said, being a president of the club is very different to being a CEO of the
yeah,
club.
true.
We've got a team that manage the club. We've organised some investment, and we will steer it for the future on the board and those kind of things. But I'm not posting tickets each morning. We've got a team that are doing that. And the most important thing for me is that it's an emotional investment as well. I want my friends and family to be proud that they've gone and invested in a club and taken it upwards. We're super excited about the opportunity and the potential for a great future.
Yeah, I can see Ryan Reynolds and Wrexham and Bob Skinstad and Baziers.
Yeah, I think Reynolds' Instagram followers are slightly more than Bob Skinstad's one or two people on LinkedIn. I don't think it's a match, but I
No,
do think that I do think that there's something to be done with a little documentary. We're looking at some of the interviews we've already done and some of the procedure we went through and some of the stuff. It is a great story. So if not one of those, then maybe a book. We'll see.
yeah. So I was going to say, explain the Strangford connection. I know Strangford, a capital based in Lisbon, and I'm from Northern Ireland. I mean, I grew up around the Strangford Loch, which is my mother and father are from Kirkcaldy and Portaferry, and
Okay, cool.
and Eddie Jordan is obviously a big man there, and he's Irish. So how's the Strangford connection coming up? What is Eddie Jordan like, and what's it like to work with Eddie Jordan, basically?
Oh, he's great, Kev. Obviously Eddie's done very well over the years with his racing team and other investments. He's got some big investments and property stuff. He's currently very, very bravely taking on chemo, and we send our thoughts out to him. He's a wonderful inspiration and a bundle of energy to be around. But what he's done is over the years, he's put some of his well-earned monies into some investments, and Strangford or Strangford Oval, as in the oval of a rugby ball, is the investment company that we have jointly together. So Eddie has backed us with a number of other people, and given us time, effort, and he's just down the road. He's predominantly stays in Monaco. So he's a 1.5 hour drive away, and he loves his rugby. So when he was in Cape Town, I met him in Cape Town years ago with some of my friends and people who have looked after him and his financial stuff for years. And I've seen him for lunch a couple of times and talked rugby. He's always been. That's why I think there was a bit of a rumor mill about him looking at London Irish a couple of years ago. And some other rugby investments. It's not an easy space. You can't just sort of walk in and buy a club. I mean, clubs have got constitutions. Clubs have got shareholders. They've got usually a national body or governing body has got permissions, etc., that are really, really difficult and time consuming and money consuming actually. To get through. So it's been quite a while while we've put this all together. So. The fact that some of the rumors about Eddie looking at London Irish and Major League Rugby and a few other things, I think they all just came into one pot. I mean, we've only really looked at the Stormers before the LaRue family and the Arda group came in to that, and then Bezier has been our focus for quite a long time.
I think Bezier is a great starting point. To be quite honest, I think it's a nice D2 is incredibly competitive. The top 14, I think, is without disparaging Super Rugby and the Currie Cup. I think top 14 is probably the best rugby in the world at the moment. They play excellent rugby.
Yeah, they do, and I hope it gets covered more on on SuperSport in South Africa, so we see it. I know it's difficult because they currently only got French commentary of Pro D2, but they've got English commentary of top 14.
Yeah.
And they, I don't, maybe with Canal Plus buying SuperSport, maybe they'll put some of the the Pro D2 on TV there, and we can start getting, you know, some coverage with South African fans. I'd love to be hosting South Africans out here. There's already a couple of young South Africans in the team, you know, so or in the squad, and have been over the last sort of 3-4 years, you know, in and out. Some guys are leaving next year, but I think we'll certainly be looking for some talent who want to spend some time overseas.
Yeah, it's quite a multicultural team. I was looking at the squad lineup you got there, and it's very I mean, there's Fijians, the Samoans, the South Africans, Kiwis, a couple of Australians, everybody. But I mean, I think that recruiting may just recruiting talent is expensive, and bringing other people in, it may take away from the fact that Beziers a very, very, very French team.
Yeah, look, I've said a number of times now, we're certainly not looking to overtly influence this, but make it a sort of a half Kiwi, half Safa team. That's the opposite of what we're doing. You know, they've got a great academy. They've got a fantastic feeder system with young players who come from the region. There's a very good system in France called the GIF. I'm not sure exactly what it stands for in French, but you can pre-qualify as a youngster, and you can come to France and play rugby here, and you can still qualify for your own country, but you can actually spend the 3 years or so qualifying and getting your French national qualification. Which a lot of the South Africans who ended up playing for France, that's how they did it, you know. So we've got and the Kiwis who've ended up playing for France. It's just the South Africans who don't let anyone in except us Zimbabweans come and play for South Africa, you know. So everybody else is keen for some South Africans to play. No, but quite genuinely, we're not looking to do anything like that. We want to overtly influence the players. We want to be 90% French, and if we can, 90% from the Bitoa rugby playing population, you know.
Perfect. Speaking of taking over the world, the Springboks, man, I mean, they weren't at their best last night on Saturday. But yet, and they weren't the best against Scotland, but yet they are on a different level at the moment. I mean, what did you make of the game yesterday? And obviously you were there.
Yes, I was there. We had some clients with Elixir, and everybody was sort of clinging on to bits of hope that maybe England would do something, because a lot of them were English influenced. My friends and clients came in their South African rugby jerseys, so that laid out who they were supporting. But yeah, I think I agree with you. I think the team's just been absolutely brilliant in the adaptation. I think Russie's done a great job of building the trust and the depth and the quality of people in every position. I really think it's a good place to be at the moment. And yeah, like you said, they possibly weren't at their best, but geez, they were never that bad. You know what I mean? The other teams. I mean, Scotland didn't fire a shot really. They weren't able to score a try. England scored a lovely try, but you know, I've said it for a number of weeks now. I love Marcus Smith's attacking play, and he was great with the ball in hand. You know, Slatom went over. Excuse me, and I think the South Africans reacted brilliantly, man. You know, for Eben and Peter Steff to do that double charge down and then score a try to basically wipe out the difference almost immediately was just amazing. You know, Kwagga Smith was brilliant. I thought Marnie played beautifully with the running game, battled a little bit with the ball on the tee, but you know, that's okay. And because you know, Polly came on in the second half. I mean, it's becoming a bit of a rhetoric now. You know, the guys are just they're just doing their job, and I think if they play the best team that they've got and they play well against Wales, then I think we could see a decent score.
I hate the phrase it's a team in development, because every single team should be in development. Every way you talk about a team is adapting, you're building, you're growing, you are becoming better or becoming worse. And I think this team is just developing. I do think we're in a bright 4-year future. But that said, you know, eras come to an end. For me, the crux of the whole thing for me is Grant Williams at the moment. Grant Williams is the player I build my entire team around. He's brilliant.
I mean, he is brilliant, and I love him as a player, and he's so fast, and he's such a good attacking player. I think that the caution I would say there is that Russie's probably more pragmatic and saying, you know, if I build my whole team around one player and he gets injured, you know, what I do from there. So I think what he's doing is he's able to look at, you know, Kobus Reinach, probably, you know, I would say Hendrikse, Grant Williams.
I think
I mean,
Faf
look
is
at,
done, yeah.
I mean, but you look at Faf, you know, what an amazing rugby player. You know,
Yeah.
he's definitely got, I mean, he's definitely got a couple more tests in him, and he's definitely got a great career still in him. But he's probably fallen out of favor a little bit at the moment, and if you know, that's okay. I think, you know, 3-4 years ago we would have said without Faf and Pollard we've got nothing. You know,
Yeah.
now sort of going, well, hang on, we've actually got 5 or 6 combinations, and that's what's fantastic about what Rassie and his management team have built.
Cool. Right, let's flip over to the English because God knows they need some help. Is Steve Borthwick too stuck to a game plan? I think Marcus, I agree with you. Marcus Smith is a genius, but he can't be the only person to hold that team together.
Yeah, you're right. He, I think Steve he's quite an old school sort of disciplinarian coach,
Yeah.
and we've just seen it backfire a little bit. You know, you get these young kids; they want to be inspired. They don't want to be told what to do. They want to be inspired, and I think Rassie's got the balance right because he's allowed the players to be the leaders in terms of how much time and effort they're spending on you know, with each other, and on what the team and the team culture becomes. I think that's been, you know, his sort of genius, and I'm just not sure they're doing it to that level in the other teams. You know, I mean, Warren Gatland is a great coach. He's definitely gone in and told people what to do. You know, Steve Borthwick is a great coach. It's really been proven at club level, but he's definitely gone in and told people what to do. You know what I mean? Like I think it's a clash of culture. It's a clash off the field more than anything else. You know, I'm not sure that that's as easy to fix as if it's just, oh, we're really good, we just played poorly in our kicking game, or we scrummed poorly, or something like that. You know, you can go and train that back into someone. The culture stuff is deeper than that.
I love that. When that's exactly what you're going to do with Beziers. So basically, you need a buy-in. So you need the coach to buy into the players to buy into the coach, and then to buy into you and to Mertz and to what you want to do with the club. I mean, the whole buy-in thing. And I think that's what the Springboks have absolutely got, and I think that's what you want to do with Beziers. Which I don't think Farrell has got at the moment with the Irish. The Irish is almost sort of the players become a bit big for their boots in terms of the discipline. In the game against Argentina was shocking.
I think it was 15 penalties to 6. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point. You know, I don't know Farrell as well. I mean, I played against him, and I've seen him in a few coaching roles. He definitely is a disciplinarian. He's a hardworking guy. He's unfortunately, you know, I mean, it's a great appointment, and I think he will do a fantastic job. But you know, he's also going to be head coach of the Lions, so he's also got 40% of his time looking over the fence, saying, you know, 1st of December, I've got another big job. You know, we're going to Australia, who's starting to look very good, and I've got to get my team together there. So, I mean, I think, I think probably it's a good comment. He's a disciplinarian, and he is strict, and it is a culture thing. But you know, Irish rugby have been underpinned by the strength of their provinces for many years, and they had 4 provinces to choose from. And that's I'm not saying that they're disappearing completely, but that's now the most of that is being, that pressure is being put onto just Leinster and just Munster, you know, because Connaught and Ulster are not performing at the same level as those two, you know, and when that happens, it becomes difficult because you see your extra resources dwindling, so you don't have a second and a third and a fourth choice in a position. And when that happens, then I think it's harder because sometimes you have to pick someone, and I don't think Rassie feels he has to pick anyone.
Exactly, I love that.
That's the difference.
There's an absolute gift in not having to pick someone. It's almost like not forcing someone into a position, not keyholing or squeezing someone into position. And speaking of keyholing and squeezing, you've heard about this new league. I'm not entirely sure it's got legs. These people are being offered £1 million a year to play in this franchise league, a breakaway league, supposedly. Do you think it's got any sort of legs, this new league?
Well, I was just doing I was doing as much reading as I could, and to be honest, there's nothing factual in
Yeah,
any of the articles. I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
it's all fluff. So if I take what they tried to portray as facts, and they said they're gonna pay, they're looking for 280 players, and they're going to pay around £1 million, for a 16-week competition. So then your stand-up cost for the tournament before you've hired a venue or got a ticket sorted or got anyone organized is £280 million a year.
Yo,
If
jeez.
someone's got the money to do that, then fantastic, well done. Come and buy. So I don't believe for a second that that's the maths around that is going to work.
Yeah.
And then I also don't believe for a second that just saying that you've got a couple of players signed up means that you've managed to navigate all of the intricacies of the national unions, their current clubs, contracts. If you say you've already got 30 players signed up to move tomorrow, that means you've had 30 negotiations with guys who have to be superstars. So they've got a club and country deal, and you've negotiated them away from the club and country, and no one in those clubs or countries knows anything about the background of who you're dealing with. I'm like, no.
Yeah. Anyway, Bob, thank you so much for your time. I know in between driving kids back and forth, when does the work at Beziers start? The last grade. When do you start at Beziers? When are you moving
No,
there?
no. Yeah. I'm going over to watch a game next week, and then early December I'll be at two games. Then I'm going to have a little holiday in South Africa, and I can't wait for that.
Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Skinstad. What a legend. Thank you very much, Bob.
Thanks, Kev. Great to chat.
Listen live and on demand.
Welcome to Omni Sport.